My dear students, as in the part of digestive system, now I am going to explain you about the structure of liver and its function. As we know, human body consists number of glands. Among those glands, liver is considered as largest gland. So which weighs 1.2 to 1.5 kgs in adult human. And liver is located in abdominal cavity below the diaphragm, attached to duodenum. And the liver has basically divided into two lobes, which are known as hepatic lobes. Right hepatic lobe and left hepatic lobe. Right hepatic lobe is larger than left hepatic lobe, whereas each lobe contains several compartments known as hepatic lobules. Each hepatic lobule is hexagonal in shape, and this hexagonal hepatic lobule is considered as structural and functional unit of a liver. Why? Because liver is made up of these lobules, and as well as the function is carried out by the lobules. So this each hexagonal hepatic lobule is surrounded by a thin sheet of covering is known as Glison's capsule. Glison's capsule is a covering of each hepatic lobule. So each hepatic lobule contains several hepatocytes. The cells of liver is known as hepatocytes, and the arrangement of cells are like cord manner. Hence these are called as hepatic cords. Now you are seeing in this diagram, hepatic cords are arranged acentrically towards center. So there is central vein present in each hepatic lobule, whereas all the cells are arranged like spikes in a wheel. And each hepatic cord has gaps. So the gap contains a specialized ductules known as bile canaliculi. So bile canaliculi helps in the passage of bile, which is synthesized from hepatocytes. As we know, bile is synthesized or secreted by the hepatocytes, and they released into bile canaliculi. Apart from that, bile sinusoids also there. So bile sinusoids are the gaps between each hepatic cord, which accommodate the portal vein. Already we know portal system. So hepatic portal vein terminates at sinusoids, where the portal vein capillaries are present, where exchange of gases and nutrients will take place. So this is regarding hepatic lobule. So once the bile is secreted from the each hepatic lobule and each of the cells, so it is traveled by the hepatic duct. So right and left, these two ducts, hepatic ducts. These two hepatic ducts travels and attach to another duct known as the duct arises from the gallbladder. Now we have to know a muscular sac-like structure present between the two lobes of liver, which concentrate the bile juice known as gallbladder. Gallbladder concentrate the bile. So once it is concentrated the bile, it pumps that bile through the cystic duct. Cystic duct arises from the gallbladder, and hepatic duct arises from the liver. This cystic duct and hepatic duct unite and form common bile duct, CBD, common bile duct. Remember, hepatic duct is different, cystic duct is different, and bile duct is different. This bile duct, common bile duct, attached to pancreatic duct. Already here pancreas there. Pancreas release the pancreatic juice. So pancreatic duct. So common bile duct and pancreatic duct both unite and form ampulla of Vater or hepatopancreatic duct. hepatopancreatic duct formed by fusion of or uniting of two ducts like CBD and pancreatic duct. Then the entrance where ampulla of Vater or hepatopancreatic duct opens into duodenum, there is a guard or a sphincter is guarded that entrance. That sphincter is known as sphincter of OD. Sphincter of OD is guarded by the where ampulla of Vater is enter into the duodenum. So this is regarding anatomy of liver. Now let us see the physiology of liver. Right. So the function of the liver. So as we know, it secretes the bile juice. So bile juice has no enzymes, but it play vital role in emulsification of fats, as the bile juice contains some salts like sodium cholate, taurocolates, and these helps in the neutralizing the HCl, as well as they helps in the emulsification of fats. But there are no distinct enzymes present in a bile juice. Second one, they play vital role in carbohydrate metabolism. There are several reactions takes place in the liver. Let us discuss these terminology. First, glycogenesis. So glycogenesis, production of glycogen. So from where glycogen will form? From the glucose. So the excess glucose formed excess glucose when received from the blood, that glucose is converted into glycogen. So that process is known as glycogenesis. So excess glucose, in the sense insulin makes glucose into glycogen. So as we have studied this. And glycogenolysis, whenever our blood requires extra glucose, so that glycogen has to be broken down. So that process is known as glycogenolysis. Exactly opposite phenomena here. Glycogenolysis is a breakdown of glycogen to form the glucose. So glucagon will work here to add the glucose into blood, right? And then gluconeogenesis. See, gluconeogenesis, glycogenesis. The difference is, if the glucose is forming from the glycogen, glycogenolysis. If the glucose is forming from the glycogen, so glycogenolysis. Sometimes what happens, glucose will form other than carbohydrates. Like they can form from the amino acids, they can form from the lipids. So such process is known as gluconeogenesis. So lipogenesis is what? Lipids formation. Then lipid metabolism. So cholesterol and triglycerides also formed in the liver. And deamination of protein. This is very important, as we are ureotelic animals. But primarily in our body, ammonia will form as excretory substance. This ammonia forms from the amino acids. The amine group is separated or extracted from the amino acid to form the ammonia, basical thing. So that ammonia is converted into urea by ornithine cycle. That ornithine cycle is performed by the liver itself. So ornithine cycle. Next, lactic acid to glucose via Cori cycle. Already we have studied Cori cycle. Cori cycle is a two-way traffic between muscle and liver. Whereas muscle produces the lactic acid during anaerobic respiration. That lactic acid received by the liver, which converts the lactic acid into glucose, and it is pumped to the muscle again. So such process, Cori cycle. That Cori cycle also takes place in liver itself. And detoxification. This is very important thing. We take food. The food may contain the toxins. So the toxins are received by the liver by the portal system, and which is called as first checkpoint. So the toxins which are present in our food item, which are received by the liver by the portal system, hepatic portal system, and detoxifies and send into the duodenum again. And thermoregulation organ, this is very very important. So our body temperature of course maintained by the muscles, and apart from muscles, liver also maintained because it has abundant of glycogen. Whenever we require the temperature, so glycogen is broken down into glucose in order to form the heat. So they maintain in the temperature in our body. So the thermoregulatory organ. And hemopoietic in fetus, so already we know fetus doesn't contain the bones, so bones contain the bone marrow where blood forms. So fetus blood, there is no bone marrow, so that liver act as a hemopoietic organ in here fetus, whereas erythroclastic in adults, blood cells destroying of the blood cells. Apart from spleen, liver also play a vital role in destroying the what we call dead RBC. So that is called erythroclastic organ. And synthesizing of main proteins like albumins and globulins, and blood clotting factors like fibrinogen, prothrombin. These we have studied. All the blood clotting factors, fibrin, prothrombin, these are formed in the liver itself. And anticoagulant heparin play vital role in as anticoagulant. So that is also formed in liver only. And last one, Kupffer cells, phagocytes. So macrophages are monocytes. When enter into liver, they modified into Kupffer cell. So Kupffer cells are the cells which act as phagocytes, which engulf the bacteria, some of the foreign bodies. They send out from the body. So such Kupffer cells are called as hepatomacrophages or phagocytes. So these are the functions of the liver. Thank you.